Hey everyone, welcome back to Pod-1218. Matt, can you give an explanation to us that are just joining what Pod-1218 is?
Yeah, so we're essentially two people in the universe that is devoid of all supernatural and superhuman feats and powers alike. We specifically are in the universe that has no superhumans at all. So we decided to make this podcast to talk about nerdy things and just generic stuff that we like, stuff that we're very fond of, and hopefully you are too.
Yeah, yeah, got a lot of
Sam,
topics.
we talked about this last week. What are we covering today?
This week is our special Halloween episode. We wanted to get this out, especially before Halloween, because next week we'd be recording it around Halloween, and putting it out kind of after Halloween didn't make a lot of sense. So
Yeah, it didn't really make sense, and we're just happy that we're able to record this early. Some of us might be a little bit tired, but
Yep.
we're doing it. We're doing it live.
Yep, we're getting it done. Done and
We're
did.
getting it done and did, because we enjoy your company and we appreciate all of the support that you've given us so far. We've hit over 10 views on the podcast on Spotify, so if you're listening on Spotify, you're
Yeah.
awesome. We love you.
And
We
let me
hit,
pull
I
up
think,
the analytics on YouTube.
I
Looks like
think
we've
we're
got
just-
eight views on YouTube and
Oh, we do?
a total of 3 subscribers so far. So
Hell
shout out to
yes.
those people as well. We just uploaded that a couple days ago, so huge shout out to those people that got to that quickly.
Yeah.
Also, sorry
yeah.
for the late upload. We're still trying to figure things out regarding the software that we're using, but it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, we're getting it figured out. We'll become more professional as time goes on. So
Yeah.
so Sam, I wanted to start off this episode actually with asking, what does Halloween mean to you specifically? Has it been a superficial thing that you have to do every year? Has it been always important to you? What's the relationship between you two?
I don't know. I feel like with me and holidays, I always like to have a lot of fun. On Halloween specifically, because when I was younger, I was big into cosplay, and I'm working to get back into it, but I have a lot of like costumes that I really like making, and a lot of costumes that I want to make in the future as well. I really just like practical effects in movies and stuff, and I really think that with the rise of like CGI and AI, that practicality just is falling downhill, and it can be done, like the same effects using CGI and AI can be done practically if you really put your mind to it. So
Yeah.
I guess
That's
Halloween.
You continue. I was gonna bring up a sidebar off of what you were saying, but you can finish.
Yeah, I'll go. I'll finish up real quick. Halloween really to me has just been a lot of fun. Really not as much about like dressing up, but also like a time where, we can have fun with our fears, Like as much as we're like afraid of something, we can have fun with it, And
Yeah.
really spend some time not really facing our fears, but almost like researching into it and seeing if we can face those fears.
For sure. What I was gonna bring up in the practicality of movies and stuff like that is that I've been getting like a lot of like just good feelings about a lot of the movies that are coming out nowadays. Now, like Fantastic Four First Steps, they brought back practicality for the Thing in that.
Yeah, they did.
Obviously, there's obviously CGI.
Yeah, CGI with his
you know,
face and all that.
Yeah, but like when you were looking at the leaks of when they were filming, and he was in
Oh,
the
yeah.
big suit up top, like it reminds me of Michael Chiklis in the original movies, and those are iconic as much as they are pretty like bad movies. like they're I still enjoy them to this day though.
Oh, that reminds me, like, back when I was a kid, one of the best things about Halloween was dressing up as, like, the Thing, or the Hulk and having those like the foam fists
Yeah,
to
yeah.
punch things. That was so
For sure.
fun.
No, that's for sure. I never really had the foam fists. Anytime I got my hands on them, it was usually at like someone else's house. So I was more into like Spider-Man at that point. Like I remember playing some original Spider-Man games on like the original Xbox, and then there was even like a little like kind of 2D scroller on this console called the V-Smile. I don't know if you recall what a V-Smile is.
No.
It's genuinely like if we're able to throw up a picture for like the YouTube video, like it's genuinely like a kid console, like it's a beginner console for children.
Oh, wait a minute.
And the controller has one giant joystick and like 3 or 4 buttons on the right hand side.
Yeah.
I would genuinely hook that thing up to my big, at the time it was big for a TV, but it was the SpongeBob box TV that had like SpongeBob on its sides and stuff, and I would hook that up to it and just play like the Little Mermaid game. I'm pretty sure there was a Spider-Man game and obviously the SpongeBob game, but it was just like a bunch of like very simplistic games for kids, and it was super fun.
Did you have the practical Spider-Man web shooters?
I did, where it had like silly string.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those were fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I genuinely, it felt like I was, Spider-Man. I also had a Spider-Man or a Batman pinball machine, like a mini pinball machine. Yeah, it was like a lap pinball machine, and it had like flashing lights and stuff, and it had Batman on it and the Joker. It was super cool.
Cool.
But, outside of like vintage thousands, childhood nostalgia, we're going to be talking about a lot of Halloween things today. I did kind of want to start just generic before we got into some of the nitty-gritty stuff.
Yeah, I did want to cover a couple of topics that happened this week, especially since we recorded last week's episode. Some of them were personal things that happened to me, and some of them were like actual major things that I think is worth discussing. Real quick to start, the most almost controversial thing that happened was about a month ago. Zack Snyder joined Instagram, and
I was unaware of this, actually.
yeah, and most of his photos are great. They're like black and white and all that. Now, about 6 days ago, actually, he posted this picture of Henry Cavill as Superman with the caption, "Henry Cavill is Superman, from BVS, shot with my monochrome 50mm Noctilux, 3 weeks on Instagram, thanks to everyone." This picture of Henry Cavill as Superman, in my opinion, it doesn't highlight him as Superman.
Yeah, that does not look like Superman. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he's
That looks like, if anything, that looks like Zod, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that picture of Superman does not look like Superman at all. It mostly resembles someone evil, almost, especially with the black and white photo. He just looks menacing as like he's just gonna try and murder me for whatever reason, or I don't know how PC we have to be for YouTube, so it looks like he's gonna like unalive me or something of the nature, but like I'm like, he definitely is gonna kill somebody. That does not look like the Beacon of Hope. It does not look like... And I know all the Snyder fans are going to get in the comments if we post a clip of this. They're going to get in the comments and start just, like, punching their... hitting their chest and saying, "Oh, Snyder supremacy!" You're a bozo. I'm so sorry. You're a bozo.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what Superman looks like to me. I think that for me, James Gunn, or even the original... I can't think of his name right now.
Christopher
Reeve's Superman. That is Superman to me. Mm-hmm. Not as much as I love Henry Cavill and how much of a nerd he is and what stuff he's into. I can't imagine him as like the best Superman, in my opinion, because they just jumped straight into the injustice like we talked about last week, and it's just, ugh. What else did you have? Because I think you told me you had like 4 different things that happened.
Yeah,
recently.
One of the other things, Warner Bros. Discovery is actually up for sale. This includes DC Studios, this includes Harry Potter, this includes numerous other trademarked characters that Warner Bros. Has, and the studio is up for sale, which some of the top contenders are Paramount and Netflix. Now, if Netflix does buy out Warner Bros. Discovery, this could be the end of movie theaters. If all these characters get migrated over to Netflix, we may never see them in theaters again.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, it's... let me see if I could pull up who all is included in Warner Bros. Discovery.
Well, you could probably look at, like, that Scooby-Doo, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's... honestly, what is that one game that flopped really hard and they ended up canceling? Universes or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
So that's like the Iron Giant. Yeah, Multiverses.
Yeah. They
have like the Iron Giant,
Bugs
Adventure
Bunny,
Time, I believe.
Yep, Daffy Duck, Looney Tunes, Adventure Time.
Yeah,
ooh. That's
a bit problematic. But I don't
the Matrix.
See... The thing is like, how would that work for, like, HBO? Because I know HBO has the rights and they release the Fiona and Cake spinoff, which is a more, like, adult Adventure Time spinoff. Would they just have joint, like, ownership or, like, whatever? Like, you could view it both on whatever takes what? And I genuinely... This has to go to Paramount. Otherwise, Netflix is going to end up being just as bad of a monopoly as Disney.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think Disney's just going to buy everyone.
Yeah, I mean, although I think it would be cool to have Disney acquire, you know, the Warner Brothers, you know, stuff eventually, because then, you know, you can watch all of your favorite superheroes under Disney, but the fear of monopolizing, because at what point do you just say, well, I own everything you're gonna watch is gonna be, you know, streamed anyways, so you might as well not go to the movies and just pay me $25 a month to watch whatever you want.
Not only that, but it looks like Warner Bros. Also owns HBO and CNN.
That makes sense as to why they're able to. So that means that Game of Thrones, too.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones is going to be acquired by someone else. It won't be an HBO thing anymore.
Yeah, it could all just...
Unless whoever purchases it, or, you know, whoever does that, if they keep HBO as a thing and it's just a subsidiary of it, you know, and they just acquire Warner Bros. Kind of like how Fritos or Lay's or whatever is owned by Pepsi. Did you know that?
Yeah. So it could end up just being like a sister company and staying as Warner Bros. That would be cool.
I mean,
but then,
it would be cool, but then you're still... All the money's going to the same person.
Yeah, so... I don't know. We'll see.
It would just end up being probably like, you know, they keep someone in charge of Warner Bros., but at the end of the day, that person answers to mommy or daddy up top. And then there's just going to be a lot easier, like, oh, get a package deal where you get HBO, Hulu, Netflix, and Disney all in one, you know? And you get, like, all these subscriptions, like, in a bundle for $50 a month.
I mean, maybe.
It wouldn't be, I guess, like, theoretically, it would be nicer to have it all in one. If we're thinking practicality-wise, of having just, like, one big subscription and having access to all these different apps. But at what point do you just say, okay, let's cut out the middleman. Why don't we just make one big thing, like Amazon did? You know, we just make one big website. You subscribe to this website, you can access any one of these subsidiaries you'd like.
Yeah.
And
pay extra for the other ones, you know?
Yeah, so it's a bit ridiculous. Is there anything, like, good that you have in the news? Or is it all bad?
No, there was, one of the things... This is good, and this is good because it was bad. Me and my mom watched a movie. It was made in 2023. It's called Monsternado. Let me tell you, you can look up reviews for this movie. This movie is so funny to watch because of how painfully bad it is. I'm talking like the acting is bad, the CGI is bad, the script is bad, It's just,
It's like Sharknado all over again, but Sharknado at least was entertaining.
yeah, so the whole premise of the movie is, it seems cool, because there's, like, prehistoric monsters in the Bermuda Triangle. But then some idiot was like, okay, what if a tornado brought them to London?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a concept.
But don't worry about the tornado aspect, because there's a scene in the movie where the tornado literally goes over people, and they don't get swept away or anything. Tornado just goes through them, and they're just running.
What?
Yeah.
It reminds me of how bad the movie Cooties was.
Oh, yeah, I heard that movie.
Yeah, I've watched it. It wasn't like terrible, but it definitely wasn't like anything special, I'm going to be honest. Essentially zombie kids, very cheap practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has Rainn Wilson, who else?
That one guy from 30 Rock. I can never remember his name.
From 30 Rock? I know that it has a guy from Always Sunny, I'm pretty sure. No, it doesn't. Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
Elijah Woods. Or whatever his name.
The
Elijah
guy I'm
Wood?
thinking of is Jack McBrayer. He's
What is
in that movie. He's the guy in Wreck-It Ralph. Fix-It Felix. He voices Fix-It Felix.
Oh, yes. The guy who sounds like this.
Yeah.
All the time.
He's a lot of fun.
He is. I like him. He's also in Talladega Nights.
Oh yeah, he is.
Love Talladega Nights. It's a good
That's
comedy.
a
classic comedy. I don't want to call it a classic, but it's getting there in age.
Yeah, it's a solid one.
Yeah, it's a solid comedy movie from like late 2000s, early 2010s probably.
Yeah.
Mid 2000s?
I almost want to say
I'm afraid to go in my browser.
Talladega Nights, 2006 film, so mid 2000s.
Okay.
And
2006.
One of the last things that happened to me, this was personal. I had a dream that if I could recite the Green Lantern Creed, I would get a ring. And in the dream, I only got like half of the way through. But it was interesting because it made me think of a question. If you could recite any like creed or saying to get like the power of something, what would the creed be and what would the power be?
Oh, I might have to say, I don't know, if you'll accept Power Rangers.
Okay, yeah.
I would definitely take, like, a Power Ranger, and if I had to choose from which, like, version, like, which, saga, I guess, it would be Jungle Fury. It's my favorite Power Ranger saga.
Okay, yeah.
Just the three, it's, like, red, yellow, and blue, I believe, and they all, like, kind of look like different like big cats or whatever, and their Zords are all different cats. I'm pretty sure it's like a tiger, cheetah, and I think a leopard or something. And I really enjoyed that one because when you took up the mantle of any of those three rangers, they had the ability to essentially learn the technique of former rangers in their universe and essentially acquire the Zord of those rangers, and it was super cool. So like the red one started out with like a tiger, and then he eventually got like the great ape Zord, and then like another one, and just like I don't know, the costumes in that one are so awesome, and it ticked all the boxes for me. So yeah, if I had to choose whatever creed or whatever to get some sort of powers, if I could just recite something and I get the powers of some sort of fandom like thing, it would definitely be the Power Rangers.
Okay, yeah.
Like, do you like Power Rangers, or did you ever like Power Rangers?
Watched a couple episodes. I never really got too much into it, but I did watch a couple episodes. It was just interesting to see like how these I guess like semi-normal teenagers were like granted these powers, and it was like they would face off against these not necessarily otherworldly villains, but like just interesting supervillains.
Yeah, I mean, and talk about practical effects. Everything in that show was practical. Whether it was Mighty Morphin or like your latest, rendition of it, even in like Ninja Samurai or whatever, like they always had practical effects, but I think it was to mimic the Japanese original Kamen Rider.
Okay.
where the Common Riders or whatever, I gotta watch it to understand, but it's essentially where Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came from, and they essentially had like this belt thing where you put like the energy crystal, kind of like similar to a Kyber crystal almost from Star Wars. You put it in this thing, and then you wind it up with this thing, and then you pull out the thing, and you go, and then you turn into the Common Rider. It looks really cool.
Okay.
And I would love to see like where Power Rangers came from, or if it was just like the Americanized version of Kamen Rider. I don't know. That's also possible.
Yeah.
But was that the last thing that you had for news-wise?
Yeah, that was it. Let's get into the Halloween stuff. Is there anything you want to lead with?
So, I would love to lead with something simple, and just to kind of get us into the mood of talking about spooky stuff. What are some of your... Yeah. Insert Five Nights at Freddy's scream here. Yeah, or. So, what are some of your favorite, like, scary movies to watch? Or that you have watched?
First one, I don't know, this isn't necessarily horror, but it does have a very creepy atmosphere. The first one, I'm gonna say, is Shutter Island. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Doesn't that have DiCaprio in that?
Yeah, it has DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo. And
really?
It takes place on this, like, insane asylum island. And, like, the whole movie is... It has this, like, creepy atmosphere. And it's not really a horror movie, per se. It's more like a thriller.
Okay.
But I'd put that at number 1. Number 2... I would put The Descent. It's I don't know what year it is, but it is a 2005 horror adventure movie. This group of, I want to say like 5 spelunkers go into cave diving, and about, what is it, like a quarter of the way through the movie, maybe half of the way through the movie, they realize they're not alone underground, and there's these, like, man-like creatures that are cannibalistic and go after them, and that's, like, the one horror movie that gave me, like, actually scared me. And the fun part is, there's 2 separate endings. There's a American ending, and I want to say a European or, like Eurasian ending. One, at the end of the movie, one of the girls makes it out of the cave, and she's driving away, and she stops for a minute. She, like, puts her head down, kind of, like, process what just happened. And she looks over to her side, and she sees the ghost of her friend, and it's like a jump scare, and that's how the movie ends. Well, the other ending, it has that same thing, but after the jump scare, the main girl wakes up back in the cave, surrounded by a bunch of the man-eating creatures. And it pans out, and there's literally hundreds of thousands of these creatures surrounding her.
Gee.
And it fades to black, and that's where it ends. So it's like...
no happy endings here.
Yeah. Let's see. And then 3, let's see. My top 3... Do I want to go with a classic or more of a modern? Ooh, that's a good one. It's a Stephen King movie called... I'm a big Stephen King guy. I watch a lot of his movies. His movies are great. A lot of his books I haven't read, but I do like a lot of his movies. And there's a movie, I want to say it's called The Darker Half. Darker Half? Yeah, The Dark Half, Stephen King. Basically, this author is, he has like a writer's block or something, and he dives into this like darker half of his mind to write like horror books and stuff like that. Well, eventually this darker half becomes real and starts people, and he starts being, I don't know if it's framed or like investigated into it, but it's a real interesting concept. I really like that movie as well. I think I'm gonna put that as my my number 3.
Yeah, I have to watch that then. That sounds pretty awesome. If we're just doing top 3s, I definitely got some, because I like the horror genre. Now, I usually can handle some horror, but like sometimes the stuff that really puts me off of horror is like if the gore is too like much for me.
So no Terrifier?
No. But I have watched the count on YouTube.
Mm,
So if which I will say, if you like seeing what you're getting into before watching a horror movie,
yeah.
I would suggest watching the count on the YouTube channel Dead Meat. He's actually the owner of that channel, James. He's actually a Michigan local.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's from Michigan, so it'd be pretty cool if you check that out if you're into horror. But yeah, he kind of does a count where it shows you like all of the in the movie, and if it's like too gory, then he'll obviously blur it out
Hmm.
a bit, but you get like the sense of what's going on. So I utilize that quite a bit to see if I can find a movie palatable, and most of the time it's like spoiler free. Most of the time.
Yeah.
There is instances where he goes deeper into the movie because he's like a horror movie buff. But the reason that I bring this up is because most horror movies I watch are not modern and they're not as gory as
Okay.
most movies are. So like one of my top picks has to be the original Halloween. It has to be.
That's a solid
It's
one.
not, yeah, it's not too bad in the gore department for its time. You know, like it's obviously scary.
Yeah.
It's more iconic when you think about how much has come out for Michael Myers the character, his the kind of
And
IP that you can kind of throw in anything, and it's iconic.
yeah, and I don't know for certain, but I think that might have been one of Jamie Lee Curtis's like debut acting roles, maybe. I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
she was the main person of that movie.
Hmm.
Of most of them, except for Halloween 3. We don't really talk about Halloween 3. Don't forget to put on your shamrock mask on Halloween night, midnight. Ooh, your head's gonna decay immediately and bugs are gonna fall out. Like, it's gotta be like the most weird thing. Because you go from Halloween 1 and 2 being all about Michael Myers, and then you go, okay, what if.
Which?
Yeah, now hear me out. What if we made a third one, but we didn't add the iconic character into it? But that will lead me into my next one, and I'm going a bit older.
Okay.
We're talking the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Ooh,
Okay,
that's a
the
solid
creature,
one. Like
the
the
creature from the
the black
Black
and white
Lagoon.
one.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to show my partner Creature from the Black Lagoon because that is my favorite creature feature to ever have been made, really. Obviously, you got some big contenders with, like, Wolfman and
Hmm.
the original Abbott and Costello movies where they,
Oh
do
yeah.
crossovers with Dracula and the Mummy, the Invisible Man, and all that stuff, and Frankenstein's monster. But you can't go wrong with the Creature from the Black Lagoon. I actually just went to Universal Studios and Island of Adventure within the past couple months, and I got a chance to go to the new park, actually, Epic Universe, and they have the Dark Universe there, which is all like spooky stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a Wolfman roller coaster, and there's a giant like ride inside Frankenstein's castle, and it's super. If you are going, I don't want to spoil the ride for you because like it's super fun. I'm not a big fan of jump scares either. I'm going to be honest. Like, to be called a horror fan and not be, into like a lot of like gore and, jump scares, I feel like, you can call me a poser if you want. My favorite sense of horror is like, ambience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I'm on a ride and, we're in the dark universe, it's supposed to be scary, there's going to be jump scares. There's going to be jump scares. I wasn't a big fan of that. So most of the time I was squinting my eyes because it's not even just like the fact that I find them distasteful. I just don't like the feeling of the jump scare. I like the
Yeah.
feeling of eeriness, where like the scariness is you doubting your surroundings,
Yeah.
rather than is something gonna pop out at me?
Mhm.
Is something gonna pop out at me? That's why I just don't get like a lot of these newer movies. And that's why I
Yeah.
like to hoist, like movies like Hereditary or like Midsummer onto like a pedestal, and say, hey, this is good horror. You know what I mean? And like this is what I like because it's not reliant on. It's
Yeah.
more reliant on. Hey, so we're gonna show you some up shit. and then you're gonna have to sit with that. And so, like, that's the kind of like stuff that I like. So when you look at the creature from the Black Lagoon, you know, obviously it's black and white. It's ahead of its time. You know, it was fully prosthetic. In the dude was swimming underwater
Oh
for
yeah.
a good majority of the movie. Do you know how we were talking about practical effects earlier? How like determined do you have to be to sit through like this entire film and be like, yeah, I'll wear the fish suit, I'll be underwater, you know, I'm gonna I'm gonna do this. And yeah, like that, it's got to be a number one contender for me for the top three. And then lastly, it's probably my favorite thriller, kind of like how you brought up a thriller movie as well. It's something that I like. I've watched so many times that I can actually watch it at night now without being freaked out. It's called Hush. Have you heard of Hush?
I want to say that I have, but I don't know. Every time
So
I think
let
of
me.
Hush, I'm thinking like Batman.
No, no. Not the Batman villain. I'm talking Hush, the movie about the lady that is deaf and lives alone in the woods,
Okay.
and she's an aspiring writer.
Yeah.
So she's sitting in the middle of the woods because she wanted to get away from the city so she could write her book. And so she buys a cabin in the woods, essentially. And little unbeknownst to her, she's being kind of like hunted like prey by one dude who is a just like a B&E guy, breaking and entering, and you know, whatever happens happens. But like the actual like cinematography in that movie and like the choices for audio is really nice, because sometimes, you know, you're almost in her point of view where you're focusing primarily on her.
Yeah.
There's no sound, so you see stuff going on in the background but you can't hear anything, so you're like, what's going on? Fantastic. It's so good. It's just it checked a lot of the boxes for me on that one as well. Like, one of my friends showed me that a while ago, and I was like, this is like the first palatable like scary movie I could watch. If you want to call it a scary movie, I guess you could call it an action, but it is classified as a thriller. So,
Yeah. I mean,
you know, like, if you get some semblance of like, my heart is racing, what's going on,
yeah.
you can classify it in spooky. I don't give a shit. But yeah, those are my top three. Do you want to take a second, because I talked about how much I like the creature from the Black Lagoon. What do you think your like number one horror antagonist is, whether it be in games or like TV, movies? Your number one pick for like an antagonistic character, either someone so menacing or so freaky that like you think that they top the charts above everyone else.
Let's see.
Because like if we're like looking at iconicity, I'm mainly thinking like you gotta go like Alien, right? Like a xenomorph.
That's what I was thinking. Like that. I mean, even like not only in the movies, but like with Alien Isolation. Like, I don't know if you've ever played that. That is like,
Yeah, that's terrifying.
yeah, that has a terrifying atmosphere. And
But there's also like, you know, Nemesis from Resident Evil, or
yeah, and
you know, there's on how you feel about it. There's Lady Dimitrescu from, you know, Resident Evil Village. You know, like,
I haven't played Village yet, but I have played the start of Biohazard. And let me tell you, the first like couple hours of gameplay is intense. Especially
Yeah.
that moment when you're wandering through the baker house and you're like, okay, I gotta put this here, gotta get that, gotta check this out, and you're just walking down a random hall and Jack Baker busts down the wall and gives you a jump scare because he's carrying the axe and he starts coming at you, and that literally made me go, oh! Like, oh my god, like what the,
yeah.
like that is a terrifying moment right there.
If you want to talk about like terrifying too within video games, the Man Bat jump scare in Arkham
Yeah.
City, when you're just like ziplining around as Batman and then you crest up on one building in particular, by the way.
Yep.
Most of the time people don't know that this happens, but you go up there and he's just literally, I shit myself. Like, I don't, not genuinely, but you know, like,
Yeah, yeah.
that scared me so bad, because why is that there? Why? Batman not supposed to be scary.
I mean, there is Scarecrow, but that's like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Scarecrow in the Arkham games too, like when you get infected with like the toxin or whatever,
Hmm.
Like, it was more like trippy. Aside from like, if you're talking about like Arkham Asylum Scarecrow, where like all of like the morgue doors start like flying open and like, I don't know if you've seen that before,
Yeah.
but like that was pretty creepy. And like
Yeah.
obviously you start like it like puts you back, a bit, and then you're like following a blood trail almost. That was pretty good. Or I don't know. I think that Xenomorph is a good contender though for like iconicity, but like
Yeah.
general like terrifying, like just like
I think for me personally, it's not necessarily people, but it's like creatures. Where I like take a minute and I look at the creature, I'm like, what the is that?
yeah.
Who came up with the design for this? Or the actual, like, concept of, like, a creature with, like, this kind of idea in mind?
Yeah, I mean, you could also like look at like oh, what's the movie with oh, what's his name? I can't think of his name. He was Mr. Fantastic in Multiverse of Madness.
With
Jim
John
Halpert.
Krasinski?
Yeah, John
Oh,
Krasinski.
The Quiet Place?
Yeah, Quiet Place 1 and 2. Those fucking monsters are freaky. And
Oh,
did you
yeah.
see they made a game based off of that, where you literally have to be quiet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it, like, senses your mic and everything?
Yeah. So I'm gonna be real with you. My number one, like, most terrifying antagonist has to be the Leviathans from Subnautica.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I especially wanted to talk about that because while we're still on Subnautica, I was playing the game and I was streaming it to my friend, and turns out the whole time he had a soundboard going, and the moment I got even remotely close to the big ship, he played the Reaper Leviathan scream, and it went through the entire Discord, and I went, Jesus Christ, and I immediately turned around. I'm like, I am not doing this anymore. Like, oh,
That's really funny. That's really funny.
but
I'm not looking forward to playing that on stream. I really am not.
it,
Like I'm on the final boss. Like this next stream, I'm on the final boss of Baldur's Gate 3, and then the streams after that are gonna be Subnautica. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
you're gonna have to wish me luck, dude. I don't.
like, dude, that is, I gotta tune in for that, because when I played it, it was like, okay, and the thing about Subnautica is it doesn't have a map to it. It, like, does, but it doesn't show you in the game.
Yeah.
And so when I played it, I had a map going on the separate screen, because I'm a scaredy pants when it comes to that game.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't do it without a map, but I highly recommend doing it without a map. Like, don't try to like look too much into the game. Like, just kind of literally deep like
Deep dive.
cannonball into the game and
Yeah,
like,
just make a beeline for it.
yeah.
Yeah, I intend to, at least for the first couple streams. But if I get stuck, like I'm gonna have to.
Oh yeah.
The thing with like Baldur's Gate 3 is like I'm consistently like looking up what choices have what impacts, and I know that it's like it's your first playthrough of like finally getting to the end of the game, just get what you get. And I'm like, no. If I
Yeah.
had to go through 2 playthroughs just to get to this point, I want it to be perfect. I want it to
Yeah.
be picture perfect. And maybe on like a different playthrough, I'll just like go through and be like, whatever, this happened. I don't care. I really don't care. But I like just having a little bit control over my like first like finish of the game. And
Mhm.
so like if I get to a point in Subnautica where I'm like, okay, I'm genuinely just not doing anything, I need a little bit of guidance.
Yeah, there are a couple points where I was like, okay, I don't know what to do now. And my friend at the time was like, you gotta go deeper. And I'm like, I don't want to. Like, stop telling me to play the game. I want to just play it without being scared.
Yeah, but eventually you're gonna have to face your fears with that one, because genuinely you can't do anything
Yeah,
other than go deeper. Like that's the whole point.
yeah.
Do you find like movies a bit more scary, or do you like find most of your like fright and like enjoyment of horror through like stories and stuff? Because I'm a big Creepcast fan. If you're not aware of like that like podcast, but they read a bunch of like online scary stories that you can find in like r/no sleep and stuff like that, or literal literary works that are horror. Like they go through it, and it's It's really good.
I mean, like you kind of said, I'm not a big fan of jump scares, and one of the things I also noticed was I don't like being chased. Because it's not that I don't like running away from something threatening, but if I'm trying to do something and something is chasing me, I don't find it scary, I find it annoying.
Yeah.
Like, the classic example for me would be either Resident Evil 3 or Resident Evil 2 remake with Mr. X.
Yeah, or Nemesis.
Yeah, I'm trying to solve the puzzles, and all I hear is Mr. X stomping through the entire police station trying to get to me, and I'm like, will you just stay down for 2 minutes so I can figure out this puzzle? And like, he's just a bullet sponge at that point, and it's just more annoying to me than anything. Like,
yeah,
I feel what really creeps me out would be like, not even less necessarily the story. I find the story more interesting than anything, but more of like how someone came up with that idea is what's really creepy to me. Cause like the human imagination is like, it can be wild sometimes, but
for sure.
Like, even like I thought about like a movie or a game where like everything you think of like comes true. So like even like your most terrifying like creature in your head would be real and it's somewhere out there. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that is completely understandable because like we get like things like Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Like where this.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, like that.
Hands.
Like that's.
Why,
yeah.
you know? Or like we get things like Monster House, where like a literal house is a monster.
Yeah.
But it's actually just like the soul of the dude living in its wife is just trapped in it and is like inhabiting the house.
But it did kind of lead me to one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Do you have any things that are not intended to be scary, but are, such as Subnautica, and not necessarily for me, but like BioShock? Because it does have a creepy, like, horror-esque atmosphere, even though it's not technically a horror game. Like, what are some things that they're not intended to be scary or a horror experience, but to you are?
So, like you said, Nautica's technically just like an adventure game with like the aspect of, you know, it's a survival game where you are in water, so there's bound to be big creatures in water. I'm just scared of big water, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it just kind of like takes my biggest fear and turns it into a game, and a lot of people share that. But for me personally, like, if we're talking about like of all time, I've kind of grown out of it now, but like Minecraft, like mining alone, like playing your own map or whatever by yourself late at night, and you're just mining and you hear, you know, or some it's like just cave sounds. I had to turn cave sounds off just because of how creeped out I was getting.
Yeah.
Something you could also technically constitute as like a, not technically a horror game, but like it is. I don't know if it's in the tags or whatever, just like Lethal Company, right? Like,
yeah.
Was that technically a horror game, or was it just like an SCP like esque situation where you go in, get stuff, get out?
That's a good question. I can pull up Steam real quick and check. Let's see, because I just played a couple days ago with me and my buddies, and we had a hell of a time. It does say it is co-op horror, so
okay. So I guess technically
have that horror aspect.
Something that also scared me as a child is the beginning of Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Finding Nemo when it first came out when I was a kid.
And that barracuda?
That barracuda attack, you know, it's a jump scare. Like, I don't know what the that's doing in a children's movie.
Yeah, but have you ever seen an actual barracuda? Like,
yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, they are not like a force to be reckoned with.
That is true. I mean, you could also argue that like most like phobias are not meant to be scary or whatever. Like, I'm afraid of bees, but it's mainly because I don't want to get stung.
Yeah.
So like little flying things always freak me out. It's like an elephant and mouse, except I'm not scared of mice, you know? Or, you know, like I hate to describe it. Like my closet either has to be like fully open or fully shut. Like there's no in between.
Yeah. I mean, when I was little, I used to be scared of my bedroom ceiling fan, mainly because it had like some bolts in it, like around the top of it, and it looked like eyes to me, and it always made me think that
Mm.
my ceiling fan was alive and it was out to get me. And I would always constantly have nightmares that it was alive and out to get me, and I'd have to like run away from it, like
I mean, hey, the ultimate fear I think I have, aside from being corny and just saying like dying or whatever, my biggest fear is being like forgotten altogether by the people I care about. I had a
okay.
dream as a kid that I literally like went up to my mom and I'm like, "Mom," and she didn't recognize me. She's like, "Where's your parents?" And it's like, "I don't know who you are." And I was like 7. So like there's no
Oh,
reason I should be having like this kind of dream.
yeah,
And it just like it messed me up for a few days.
yeah.
Sometimes dreams, they're not meant to be scary, but sometimes your own mind just with you in that way.
Oh yeah.
So like there was a time where this is a bit more personal, but like I had a full dream that I had a kid or whatever, and this was like the most beautiful child ever. Like I was fully like paternal to this child, and then
Hmm.
I woke up and my child was gone. So I just had this
Yeah.
like
This empty
sinking feeling
feeling.
in my stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was genuinely like just the most comparable to what I felt as a child. With that one dream of everybody forgetting who I was. To this point now in my life, this was only not even a year ago that I had this dream, and it literally like turned my entire like worldview upside down for like
Okay.
a week.
Yeah.
It really fucked me up. But just simple shit like that, like the scariest place is one's mind, because sometimes you can't even control what you think about or what you dream about.
Yeah.
And it's not meant to be scary, but like it's genuinely like the least explored place, similar to the ocean. The human mind is capable of many things. It's able to somehow rewire itself to find like psychopathic things normal and
Hmm.
comforting and stuff like that. So like that's where I get a lot of like fear from. Really, it's just like what is my brain gonna put me through today? Is it gonna be normal, or are we gonna have a weird ass situation on our hands? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to it, but I was gonna move on, kind of swinging around to another topic, if that's okay with you. Kind of jumping back to like the most iconic antagonist in horror. What do you think the most like prolific or iconic protagonist would be? Because for me, when I think of that, instantly Ellen Ripley shows up in my mind from Alien, the original Alien,
Hmm.
or like Arnold in Predator. You know what I mean?
Oh, I thought you were
Or
gonna
even
say in Hey Arnold. I was like, huh? Okay.
no, but there's also like Courage the Cowardly Dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could say that Courage the Cowardly Dog is a kids show all you want, but that was probably the scariest cartoon out at the time.
Oh yeah. Especially the Return the Slab.
Return the slab.
Yep.
That's, or that guy who was constantly just grinning ear to ear.
Yeah.
God,
Let's
I cannot
see.
handle that.
Horror heroes. Who's on my top list of horror heroes?
You could do like Sydney from.
Let's see.
The problem with like horror movies, I guess, it's not even a problem really. It's just like when you think of horror movies, you mainly think of like the monster or like the
Yeah, you
bad
think
guy.
of the scary thing, not really necessarily like the hero. I guess.
Yeah, but like I said, like Ellen Ripley is like the first thing that comes to mind, or the doctors in like Jurassic Park. Technically, Jurassic Park it
Yeah.
was a horror book. You know
Yeah,
what I
it
mean?
was.
And then they just adapted it into like a you know thing like that. Like Jaws has a pretty good hero. He shoots the flare gun into the shark's mouth and explodes it somehow.
I mean, I guess for me personally, and this might just be because I'm really into the subject at the moment, I'm thinking like Resident Evil. Not any of the
Leon
like
Kennedy?
typical. No, I'm not thinking like Leon Kennedy or Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine or anything like that. I'm talking Ethan Winters. Like,
From Village?
yeah, from like 7 and 8. Do you know how much he had to go through? Like,
I mean, he obviously had his hand cut off.
yeah, he went through like hell and back like twice.
Yeah.
Like, that is some like crazy stuff right there. And like, even though he might be, we'll just put redacted at the moment.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about any of that, and I do wish to play those games at some point.
I'm still working on playing them. They're just a little too scary for me. A little too creepy. I think
Don't
Ethan
play Silent
Winters.
Hill, bro.
Silent Hill is good too. I haven't played that. I want to play that as well.
Are you gonna play Outlast as well?
Maybe.
As you dip your toes further and further into the cesspool.
Yeah. I guess that puts me onto a good subject. Is there any upcoming horror, either games or movies, that you are excited about?
Not necessarily like just like looking forward to. I guess realistically, we just got a reboot of Nosferatu, that I still have yet to watch, but that looks super interesting. Highly excited to see Count Orlok's penis, but like they're making a new Frankenstein movie, which looks pretty interesting. And it's got Oscar Isaac as Dr. Frankenstein.
Yep.
So I'm super excited to see how that works, and, I just hope that it's not, like, bad, obviously.
Yeah.
But we already got, the 28 years later, so I would be excited to see some new zombie movies, like I talked about in the first episode, how I really like zombie stuff. I want something of, like, good standing, like horror zombie wise.
Yeah.
The last like good zombie anything that we got that I've seen is, I don't even know if I want to classify World War Z as a good movie, because like I watched it once or twice and like it was good and I liked the idea of like, fast zombies that are essentially still coherent enough to open doors and utilize their brain.
Yeah.
But like something I'm super excited to like delve back into. At some point I want to get back into a Dying Light, like the Dying Light series.
Yeah.
Because that genuinely, like, the first one is super creepy. I don't like the what are they called? The volatiles, which are the things that are like scared of the black light or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they only come out at night. So when you do your night missions or whatever, you're obviously being chased by volatiles. But the newest one, I believe, is called Dying Light the Beast or whatever, where Kyle Crane has like a ability to just like decimate because his whatever, I forgot what the medicine or whatever is. It's not Zombrex. Zombrex was the Dead Rising stuff, I'm pretty sure.
It could be. It was.
I do love the Dead Rising movies, Dead Rising games though, because of how silly like the little mini bosses are. In any of the games, like they don't really take themselves seriously until like you're kind of like dealing with the main story, which is super nice. But I haven't really been keeping up with like horror movies that are coming out, other than I've been seeing like the Black Phone 2 advertisements.
Yeah, I've heard it was a lot like Nightmare on Elm Street. Very
Really?
similar. Yeah, very similar to that. He kind of comes back in like dreams or something. I don't know the full thing. I haven't really watched the movie. I also haven't seen the first one.
Yeah, me neither.
But one of the things I am most excited for is the new Clayface movie is supposed
is that
to be
technically a horror movie?
It's supposed to be a horror movie. I don't know if it's going to be horror-esque like Multiverse of Madness was, or if it's going to be straight up like kind of body horror, but I am excited
I would like
for
that.
it. Yeah.
I would like that a lot, actually. I am excited. Technically, it's more like mystery and just like detective work, but like you could ideally see Batman Part 1 as a horror movie, because like the Riddler is more of like a Zodiac person, and it was a bit more gritty and just like not gory, but like I feel like you didn't see a lot of that stuff in the Dark Knight Rises trilogy, so like I don't know, I would have to rewatch them to see if there was anything comparable to that. But like the Batman Part 2 is supposed to immediately come off the Penguin and the events of that show, and it's an Elseworlds thing, so like they have the ability to do some really creepy stuff, because I'm pretty sure they're including Clayface, or is it just Hush? Do we know?
I don't know for certain.
I
I don't know if
they
it's
had like
Hush
a set like
or
it's not Ra's al Ghul, I know that.
yeah. I want to say there might have also been speculation that they're gonna include Mr. Freeze in the second one, because I think it's supposed to be taking place in the winter, so there could be something along that lines. But
interesting.
We have yet to find out.
Do you know what my favorite horror movie is of all time? Morbius.
The Morbius drop?
Yeah.
Another
hit
special
Morbius
cameo, sealed and everything.
Yeah, Morbius. Hell yeah. But no, I don't see much stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that there's a movie coming out soon. I don't remember what it's called, but I think it has Emma Stone in it, and then some other guy. I'm terrible with like actors that I don't know very well.
I think I know what you're talking about. Isn't it with Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons? And it's like a end of the world movie where they're kind of like she's being held hostage. Or are you thinking of a different movie?
I might be thinking of a different movie. I know that there was like, I don't know, I just saw the trailer and I'm like, I don't know what this is. And, with a lot of like horror movies, it's either going to tell you it's a horror movie outright, like Black Phone, or like parts from like the Insidious, movies and stuff like that. With Annabelle and stuff like that. But like this movie, it looked like kind of like the same kind of trailer that Hereditary put out, where it's just like it just looks like a mind and you don't know really what you're supposed to be expecting, whether it's like a horror movie, a thriller, or if it's like a mixture of both, or if it's just like super oddly shot so it makes you like uncomfortable. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I mean, let me see. I want to say it's called like it has some sort of weird name to it too. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name of it, and I really didn't understand what like the premise was. But I mean, sometimes those are like the best horror experiences, where you don't really know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, I think it's the dude who's married to the other person that's an actress.
The dude who's married to the other person who's an actress.
Dude,
you heard it here first, folks.
I don't know. That person who's married to the other person who happens to have an occupation in a certain field.
Yeah.
If that's not being too, spot on for you.
Mm-hmm.
If it's, I know I hit the nail on the head there. Now, I don't know. I'll have to figure it out and we can, do something. Yeah. Maybe I'll mention it in the next episode, but I don't know.
I know another thing I'm excited for, and this will probably be the last time I bring it up. Resident Evil is coming out with number 9, the video game.
Requiem, right?
And next year, Zach, is it Kreger or McGregor? Zach Kreger. He recently released the movie Weapons. He is supposed to be coming out with a Resident movie also, and based on an interview where I heard him say something along the lines of like the premise of Resident Evil is that you're getting into hell, and the further you go along, the deeper into hell you're going. So I feel like he really gets the whole premise of it, and I'm really excited to see where he takes his movie to.
Yeah, I mean, with the original like Resident Evil movies, I feel like they kind of like fell off the deep end, where it's just like, what if we have hot chick demons?
Yeah.
How about that though?
To be fair, in number 5, the game, there's a hot guy punching a boulder, so there's that for you.
Hey man, I'm a big, every main character of Resident Evil is hot in some capacity. I don't know their ages in these games, by the way. So I'm just gonna keep it like vague.
We'll keep it
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it PG-13 and just say that all the male ones. So like Leon Kennedy, Chris Redfield, Carlos Espinoza, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah, Carlos, super handsome man. Jill Valentine, she seems of age. She has a gun.
Yeah.
As for
Claire
everyone else, I have
Redfield,
no idea.
she's good.
Okay.
Ada Wong, she's a pretty popular one.
Okay. Mr. X, hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Nemesis.
Nemesis, hell yeah. Lady Dimitrescu and the
Yeah.
Coven, dude. Those sisters, oh my god. They could tear me apart and I'd say thank you. Anywho, let's move on to my next topic here, which I think kind of plays on something you asked the last episode, but what universe do you think you could survive? Like, out of all IPs, what do you think is most survivable for the Sam?
I was gonna say something immediately, but I mean, the only reason I was gonna say that was I was gonna say Saw, but the only reason I was gonna say Saw was because I value my own life. But if in the instance I was in a Saw trap, I don't think I could survive.
No, I don't think you could either. Especially in like the later Saw movies, because doesn't like Jigsaw just kind of like obviously like Kramer isn't alive in the later movies.
Yeah.
But like the entire point of the like Kramer traps were for the reason of these people being sometimes there's people who aren't being thrown in these traps in the later movies, like, and it like tries to make it out to be like, oh, you had a public indecency charge because you were drunk and you peed on a sidewalk. You deserve to cut off your own foot and regurgitate a key to unlock the head snapper device that I tied around your head.
Yeah, I mean, I think Saw was just the first one that came to mind. Other than that, I mean,
Saw, if you were ethically and morally like an actual good person,
yeah,
you could be like, yeah, I would survive the Saw universe because I wouldn't be thrown into those situations because I'm actually a good person.
Yeah, but that's kind of like a cheat code way.
Yeah, being like, well, I actually do no bad, so looks like I win. Yeah, actually, this is the end. With Seth Rogen, the comedy thriller, where they all go into heaven.
Yeah.
And then Backstreet Boys plays. I would actually survive that because I'm going to heaven. I'm a devout Christian. Like just some shit like that. But
Let's see. I'm trying to think of like a good like horror movie. Because I've seen a lot of horror movies where people die just because they make a stupid decision.
I would survive Jurassic Park. You want to know why?
Why?
I would never go. I would never go to that park. And if I did, I'm evacuating. Guess what? I'm not sticking around. Get me out.
Not like horror universe, but I think I could survive Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Do people ever die in Scooby-Doo? I mean, those are like cheapy picks, I feel.
Could be, yeah.
Did you watch like the old, not old Casper, not like 2D animation Casper, but like the 3D animation Casper movie? Not the live action, but the 3D animation Casper movie where he's in like scare school or whatever, and the head principal's name is like Kibosh or whatever.
No.
Dude, it's so funny because they got a couple like of the little ghosts or whatever that I'm sure are like super in Casper canon that I just can't think of the name of right now. But like there's like a chunky one and then there's like the slim face one.
Oh,
or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, I think it's time we put the kibosh on Kibosh. And that's the only reason I brought this up, just so I could say that line. I'm going to be so real with you. It was just a shameless plug for that line, so I could say it.
Okay.
But if we're not being, like, cheapy, I guess technically, I think I could survive, like, Chucky, like, Child's Play.
Yeah, I might be able to survive like a classic like Carrie moment, maybe. I don't know.
Because she only like the bullies, right?
Think so? I haven't seen the movie in a long time.
I guess I would survive longer probably than most in like the Walking Dead like setting. Mm-hmm. If zombies are actually mindless and don't really evolve over time like they
Yeah.
do in like The Last of Us or something. Like if it were just The Walking Dead zombies, I think I would at least make it an additional 10 years before dying. So if you count that as surviving, obviously in situations like that, there's little to no possibility of there being a cure. So it's just kind of like taking what you're getting and dealing with it.
I mean, I used to watch a bunch of the like how to survive like certain horror movie like YouTube
Mm-hmm.
videos. So maybe like if I watched one of those beforehand or something, I could
Maybe.
survive. But I, I mean, I don't think I could survive most. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think I could survive dealing with Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I don't think I could survive going against Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. No.
So those are like the big three. You can't. There's no way really to get around Art the Clown.
Yep.
You
No.
know, he'll saw
Alien.
you in
No.
half starting at your weenor.
Predator. No.
Predator, if you are disabled, a child, or a woman, you would get away with it. Because Predators only threatening things or whatever because they have respect or whatever. Let's see what else. I still think that I could survive Jurassic Park because, I don't know, if we're being cheesy, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't be that one white guy that's like, I have to go see this. I have to go see it, dude.
At
I
that point,
don't.
if it were to exist, I would just be thinking, why? Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why did you actually do this? Like,
Yeah.
that's my main concern with
I
like,
would I would survive like Paranormal Activity as well.
I don't
Like
know.
I
Some
would
of that
just move
stuff is
out.
like pretty creepy.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not creepy. I'm just saying that I would not stay in that house as long as some of these people did. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, for sure.
Like, it's just, it comes down to stupidity just for narrative's sake. Like, yeah, no. If I hear, I'm out, actually. You're telling me, oh, there's actually like a bunch of piranhas in the lake or whatever, and they're genetically modified and they're acting as a hive mind? I'm not going in the water. Sorry. Oh, we're going to the Amazon to, go boating, in the on the river or whatever. There's been sightings of giant snakes.
Hmm.
Looks like I'm dipping, actually. I'm getting the first flight home. Lake Placid, Anaconda,
You know
If
what?
you want to count it, I might be able to, but I probably wouldn't survive like a castaway situation.
Uh, maybe.
Why am I blanking?
The actor, Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks. There we go.
Okay.
Thanks.
I mean, I think the most thing I could survive is
I could
like.
survive realistically a Minecraft.
Can you still hear me? Yeah, there we go.
Is what? Sorry, you cut out for a second.
Yeah, that's why I stopped. I think realistically I could handle like going against like serial killers or maybe people because most of the time when I'm watching horror movies about them, they they get the advantage and they like smack the serial or the person once and then they immediately run away. And in my opinion, if you're going against a threat and you have the advantage, keep the advantage. Don't just have the advantage, immediately lose it and leave. Like hit them again, make sure they're down, make sure they're dead. Like
Yeah, that's fair. How do you think you would fare in like a Cloverfield situation?
I mean, against the big ones probably, but don't they have like the little small like egg parasites too?
True. Ooh, you know what I think would be pretty easy for me? Bird Box.
Well, yeah.
I just don't look.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I have to wear a blindfold everywhere, and I just essentially have to adapt to being blind. Cool.
Yeah.
Got it. At some point, your eyes will be so not adjusted to sunlight and everything that they'll just die anyways and not be able to receive sunlight. Or I would, do the cool guy thing and just like up my eyes somehow so I wouldn't be able to see. That way I don't have to rely on like a piece of cloth to cover my eyes or
Yeah.
like the ability to have my be tricked to look at something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, if it comes out, if I get past the point where everybody's like, okay, clearly you can't be outside and have your eyes open, otherwise goes down, right? If I make it past that and I understand like the tech, super easy.
Yeah.
Because I have one last thing.
Uh,
But we might have already technically covered it. I'll just bring it up real quick. The worst scary movie. You said it was Monster Tornado, right?
oh,
Or do you think something is worse than that?
I do, but I haven't seen the movie in like, you're gonna hate me for saying this. I haven't seen the movie in like 6 to 7 years. It's a movie called The Forest. It's based on like the Suicide Forest, and
Oh, is Logan Paul in that one?
no, it actually has Natalie Dormer in it,
Like,
the girl from the Game of Thrones.
yeah.
Yeah.
She plays Lady Marjorie Tyrell, I believe.
Okay.
She looks like a chameleon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I watched that movie like 6 years ago, and I didn't like it. Like I didn't understand. Like I just didn't like the movie. I thought it was bad, but I haven't seen it in a while, so it could be worth a rewatch. I mean, there are some horror movies that a lot of the ones I watch, they're completely ruined by the ending. There was one I thought was really bad. I watched it on Prime, but I don't remember the name of it. It was just like a whole crazy ordeal, but I don't remember the name of it, so
I'll tell you mine if you want to know.
yeah.
Genuinely, I've seen it once. Maybe it's worth a rewatch, but I just remember it being kind of The Happening with
Oh,
Mark
yeah,
Wahlberg.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bad one.
Uh-huh.
It's like it didn't know what it wanted the cause to be, because I'm pretty sure it started out as like crop circles or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then it turned out it's actually these plants that make you psychotic or whatever. But again, it's been a while since I've watched it, but like seeing that kid get a shell casing to the chest,
Yeah.
ridiculous. And then the other kid got his like, I'm pretty sure, ridiculous. This sort of thing might have to be either bleeped out or whatever for YouTube maybe, but I don't know. It's just like in that movie, like the most egregious things are happening for no reason, and it's actually showing it on camera, and it's just like a poor, like a super crappy script. It felt like, and Mark Wahlberg isn't the best actor, but he isn't the worst. Like I know he can do good, but like it's either that or like Halloween 3 for me. Like I just don't see the appeal of Halloween 3. Like I'd stated earlier, you go from having the icon Michael Myers, and then you're like, let's divulge from that real quick and make it so that these masks actually decay your head. Why?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. To me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the sequel just... There was a horror movie I watched. I do remember the name of it. It was called Alone in the Dark, and it starred Christian Slater. And the idea of it was really cool. The premise of it was that there are these monsters that live in the shadows, and they're like Native American monsters, and they were like sealed away in this like portal and all that, and I think the premise of it was really cool, but the movie was it wasn't good acting. Like, it just wasn't good acting. The CGI was bad. At times you were questioning what they were doing. Like, I think the military was in it, and they were like, no, it was the FBI. It was like a secret sector of the FBI. And at first you're like, okay, this could be cool, but then they were like SEAL Team 6 like sector version, and it was like, we gotta go in there and hunt them down, keep these lights on no matter how bad it gets. And it's like, what is going on? And then surprisingly they came out with a second movie, which I haven't seen, but
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know anything about that, but yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about before we head on to the ending here?
No, I think I'm good on my end.
Awesome. So I'll go ahead and introduce what we're about to do here. So obviously, me and Sam, we really care about this podcast. It's only episode 2, but we really want to kind of like separate ourselves from everybody else a little bit. just to make it so that there's something unique about each episode. And it's going to be the fact that we are guaranteeing at least one segment of our next episode. We have, on my side here, I have a wheel of different topics that we both have like extreme interests in. So it's going to essentially be like maybe a Q&A or even just like a rant about said topic, and you could hear it from someone who actually cares deeply about it. And we're going to be taking suggestions in the comments of either YouTube or Spotify or wherever else we end up posting this eventually. And we're going to, cycle in user ideas and stuff like that, and we're going to spin it at the end of every episode to determine one thing that we guaranteed talk about in the next episode. So I'm going to pull that up right now on my end here, and I'm going to see. Yeah. So we got a couple vague ideas on here. I'm going to give off the options that we have beforehand. We got memes, because Sam likes to talk about memes. He's a very funny guy.
Yeah,
and he also likes throwbacks.
TikToks, yep.
Throwbacks, probably some vintage stuff, some old-timey movies and stuff like that, or old-timey pop culture. Old school horror, that's on my part, as I talked about my love for old school monster movies. Modern horror, that was also on my part. Sam put in Hades, the game, or more, because Hades isn't just like a game. There's also the folklore, the mythic, the myths and stuff.
Greek mythology.
And we got Pokemon. That's another Sam, but I also am in the Pokemon fandom. Game of Thrones, that's more of a me thing. Same thing of Walking Dead. Typical. We got Resident Evil and Monster Hunter. Those are Sam's. Those are the things he's really into right now. We got Moon Knight and Gambit. Those are me. Two of my favorite characters at the moment. And then The Flash and Daredevil. Those are both some of Sam's favorite characters right now. And we got Balatro. That's my favorite roguelite at the moment. And then just as an idea and a concept, cosplay. Because Sam talked about how much he likes doing cosplay. So we're going to give this a little spin here and see what we get to talk about for a good amount of time next episode.
Let's see. Oh,
looks like we're doing Balatro.
All right.
Fantastic. I get to go on a rant about my favorite game. One of my favorite games. So I'm going to end the screen share.
There we go.
And if you're really into roguelites, I would tune into next episode. Or if you're unsure what Balatro even is, we're going to be diving into that. I'm going to send Sam some homework about Balatro. Maybe he'll even download it. I might buy it for him so he can get into it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave a comment, leave a review on Spotify or on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe, like, whatever you want to do. Even if you send us a DM, or whatever it may be. If you know us personally, let us know how we're doing. We love feedback. So thanks for chilling with us, and thanks for listening to our bad takes.
Good.
Fantastic. And we now have access to the YouTube channel because it got taken down. That's why it took so long, by the way. Just thought I'd explain us, and why it took so long. Hopefully this episode we can get out either by tomorrow night or Sunday or Saturday morning on both platforms.
Yeah.
So that we got this. It'll probably end up on Spotify first because Sam uploads it directly from his end to Spotify because he's able to much easier, and I'm able to access YouTube a lot easier, and I'm able to write up the description and stuff. So yeah, if you are wanting to follow us individually, I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/slothy streams. You can also find me on TikTok at slothyboy, and that's slothy with an I in both of those instead of a Y. And Sam, where can they find you at?
I'm on Instagram and TikTok. My user handle is thestyleguru52. Big into men's fashion, big into fragrances. If you're into that kind of thing, give me a follow. Yeah, hopefully you'll keep tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week.
Fantastic. Have a good day, guys. Thanks for tuning in.